In pretty much all of crypto, the game is about winning, right? Making gains. But what if there's a corner of the market where the real goal is to sacrifice? Today, we're diving deep into that very idea, the Zen of crypto sacrifice.
So let's just forget about the whole get-rich-quick thing for a second. Let's ask a totally different question. What if crypto wasn't an investment at all, but a test of your faith in a vision? And that leads us to this really core concept, the sacrifice narrative. It's a powerful idea where you don't just buy a token. No, you actively give up something you already hold that has value, like your Bitcoin or your Ether, to prove you have unwavering belief. It becomes less about your portfolio and way more about your conviction.
And yeah, you can't talk about this philosophy without talking about one guy in particular, Richard Heart. His projects, like PulseChain and this newer provex experiment, are all built around this central theme of sacrifice.
All right, so what does this whole philosophy actually look like in practice? Let's dive into our first section, a test of belief.
So the big idea, the grand vision, is for this new kind of economy, one that runs on privacy and hard mathematical proof instead of just trusting middlemen. And to get in, you don't buy a ticket. You have to make a sacrifice to prove that you are truly committed to this new world.
Okay, but to really get how this works, we need to look at a real-world example, a case study. And boy, is it a weird one. Let's talk about the strange story of a token called Pzen.
Now, Pzen is, well, it's not your average crypto coin, not by a long shot. It's this tiny, volatile, and brutally honest token that just kind of hangs out on the fringes of the PulseChain community. Its whole point isn't to make you rich. It's designed to see if you've got the guts to hold on.
And the way it's built is actually kind of brilliant in how it does this. The token's deflationary, which means its supply gets smaller over time. It's also redistributive, so every time someone makes a trade, a tiny piece goes back to everyone else who's holding. So the structure itself inherently rewards patience and punishes people who are constantly trading in and out. It's almost like a Zen meditation, but written in code.
So, what happens when you create an asset that's basically just a test of someone's resolve? Well, the numbers, they tell a pretty dramatic story. This brings us to what we're calling purification by numbers.
Okay, get this. At its absolute peak, Pzen hit 8 cents. Just lock that number in your head for a second. 8 cents.
And today, right now, it's sitting at around 0.02 of a single cent. I mean, that is just a mind-blowing drop.
Just look at this chart. That big bar on the left, that's the all-time high of 8 cents. And that little tiny sliver, you can barely even see it on the right. Yeah, that's where we are today. The difference is just staggering.
To put a number on it, that's a 99.8% drop. Let that sink in. By any normal standard, that's game over.
But, and this is the crazy part, this is where the whole story just flips on its head. In the stock market, a drop like that, that's a death sentence. It's over. But in this world, in the language of sacrifice, they call that purification. It's like burning away all the weak hands, all the speculators, leaving only the people who truly believe.
And right there you see two totally different ways of looking at the world. A normal trader, they see a dead asset, a total failure. It's a flashing red sign that says sell. But the believer, they see something else entirely. They see that purification. They see it as proof of their own conviction. And for them, it's a reason to hold on even tighter.
Okay, so let's pull back from this really extreme example and connect it to the bigger picture here. Let's talk about the sacrifice philosophy itself.
You see, the whole culture that's been built up around Richard Heart's projects frames this whole thing like a pilgrimage, almost. It starts with that initial sacrifice, giving up your valuable coins. Then comes the test. You have to endure market crashes, angry regulators, project delays, all of it. The promised reward isn't just about profit. It's about earning your spot in what they truly believe is the financial system of the future.
And that is why Pzen is such a perfect, even if it's an unofficial mascot for this whole movement. It's this tiny microcap token that basically had to live out the entire philosophy. It went through all the pain, the brutal market, the huge crash, and in a way, it became a martyr for the cause.
So all of this, it brings us to the big question, right? Is this faith? Is it just complete folly? Or are we looking at the actual future of finance?
Now let's be real, it's not all just poetry and philosophy.
There's a very pragmatic, very speculative angle to this whole thing. For the believers who are still hanging on, the hope is that if Richard Heart's big privacy projects take off, a token like Pzen with its microscopic market cap could see an absolutely explosive rebound. But let's be super clear here. That is pure, high-stakes speculation layered on top of a mountain of faith.
At the end of the day, the story of Pzen is really just this incredible parable. It's living proof that in this little corner of the crypto universe, what really defines a true believer isn't how comfortable their portfolio is, it's the strength of their conviction when facing an almost total wipeout.
And so that's where we're left. We have to ask ourselves, are we actually watching the birth of a new kind of economy, one that's based on faith? Or is this just a cautionary tale, a really stark reminder that in the wild, wild west of crypto, faith and folly can sometimes look exactly the same, and they might even be sitting in the very same wallet? Definitely something to chew on.